I don't know why, but my brain was kind of foggy at that point. I like wasn't thinking of how to escape the body triangle. And then he hit me a couple times. He like got me some good punches. And then it made me remember. I was like, oh, that's how I escaped. It made me remember the fucking escape. After about like the sixth punch, I took it and I go, oh, that's how I get out. I remember like fight the bottom foot, use it, pass it to my other leg, catch it, and then turn and face him. So you'll see my defense instantly change after one of his punches. He like punched me, and then the light bulb went off in my head, like ding. Oh, that's the escape. I remember how to get out of this position. And then I get out of it, and then I start dropping elbows on him and start pummeling him.
I don't know how I'm supposed to keep a straight face when you're like, man, he had my back. And I was like, how do I get out? Whop. Oh, you dummy. Let's get on out of this. Like, I've never heard a guest describe it as like he punched the escape back into my brain.
That was pretty much what he did.
Hey, what's up, ladies and gents? It's your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rafa Sparza, coming to you with another great installment of the Grappling Hour. We have an awesome guest. This gentleman, longtime friend of the show, but it's the first time he's come on in a minute. He's been busy. He's had a move. He's fought a couple times in the Bellator cage again. Listen, it's not for lack of wanting him on. I want to let my man go shine bright like a diamond. But before we go any further, do me a solid. Go on over to HY.PAGE /Grappling Hour. Become a member of the Grappling Hour community. By just paying $5 a month, you can see these interviews 30 days before anybody else. And it supports me, this show, and the athletes that we interview. So check this out. If you pay a few extra dollars, you can also give us money for some extra episodes, like bonus content where we talk to the athletes about the athletes that they've competed against, who they respect the most, steroids, or other topics that you yourself pitch to me. We also have a segment where guests come on and roast my competition footage and tape study breakdowns, which is my favorite segment in the world to do because you learn so much about what the athletes are thinking and what make them savages when they're competing. All right, I'm about to introduce this man like I haven't introduced him ever before in his life. Certainly not 5 minutes ago because of a technical glitch. But I caught it. That's the most important thing. When I looked around, I said, this shit's not right. What the fuck's going on? I topped my game. Boom. Right on it. So if I didn't say that, you wouldn't even know that. But I'm an honest host. That's why you should pay me $5 a month. Just saying. All right. JJ Wilson. What do I have to say about this guy? If you watch his fights, you know that he brings excellent action to the cage. His most recent fight was one that had me on the edge of my seat and had me just wilding the whole time. And I'm so proud of him. We got to the point where I said, man, this fight's so good. I've wanted to talk to him for a bit. And I said, let's get back together. Let's reunite the band. So I just have to tell you right now, JJ Wilson, how you feeling, man? You look like $1 million, even though you're about to go play golf, I think, just from the way you look right now, brother.
I wish I could play some golf right now. It's raining out. You know, I got my bad birdie hat. I'm ready to go.
So have you succumbed to a life of golf now that you live in Florida? Because I'm wondering if it's come with the territory. You know, some retirees may just like trick you into coming over and being like, hey, come golf with us.
Golfing is so fucking hard. I like it is so fucking hard. I've played a couple of times and I'm fucking terrible. And, but that sport is so hard. It's undescribable how hard that shit is.
Why and how did you get pulled in? Because you're somebody who likes a high pace and action, and golf is kind of the reverse of that. So how does somebody like you get dragged into a golf side?
Well, I think it's more of a competitive side. So a bunch of my friends were like, you know, let's go play some golf. And I was, I was like, well, I probably beat these guys at golf. I've never played it before, but I probably beat them, So, and then I win, and I'm trying to hit a ball straight, and it's fucking going into Narnia. I don't know where it's going. It fucking disappears in the face of the earth. I'm like, man, what the hell is this fucking shit? So yeah, I think that's what made me really want to get good at it, because I sucked at it. I suck at it. I still suck at it.
I was about to ask, has there been any improvements here? Because
No,
now
I'm
I'm
fucking terrible.
concerned. You don't seem like someone who, when they competes badly, takes it well. So
No.
I'm a little worried about maybe your friends you're going with, if they regretted inviting you, like, yo, don't invite JJ again to the golf.
We had money on it. I lost some money on it. I was like, God damn it, this sucks.
Hold on, JJ, I can't condone any of this. Why would you start putting money on a sport you haven't even learned yet? You basically went into this and you're like, you know what? I bet I can beat you. Have you done this before? Nope, but I'm willing to put some money down. Bam.
Well, yeah, I picked up every other sport pretty quickly. You know what I mean? I was like, this should be too hard. You just hit a ball. It's like fucking baseball. You just hit it. No, it's not. It's not like baseball. It's completely fucking different.
Okay, this is an important question. Were you competing against people who were surprisingly good at golf? Because I want to inform you how hustles work. And
No.
sometimes,
These
okay.
people are terrible at golf too. They were terrible as well. They didn't like. They were terrible. I wasn't. That was the only reason I knew they didn't really play golf that much. They played like a couple times, but they were terrible. But their terrible was better than my terrible. So
JJ. This makes me very sad for you, JJ, because I wish good things for you. But when you tell me that you actively seek a sport that will only frustrate you and make you angry, I hope that you can find the calmness in it. My dad was a huge golfer, and you have to understand that I was inundated with golf heavily. And when you're a kid, if your dad does something, you're like, that's lame. I don't like that. That's boring. I don't like
yeah,
that. And I was busy playing like sports, and my dad would always do this thing where he would tell me, he's like, son, you got a beautiful swing. God. And I'm like, I think he just wants to hang out with me. Like, I think he's complimenting me so that he'll make me feel better at golf. So I've gone through my bad days of golf, right? Recently, at my gym, the owner of our gym, he gets drunk. We do a fight companion. We're watching some UFC fights. And just out of the blue, he goes, hey, man, we're going to go golf. That's what we got to do now. I'm like, oh, have you golfed before? And he goes, no, but I bet I could beat you. And I was like, no. And I'm not highly competitive with a lot of people, but I will beat the shit out of you in most things. So I have no issue doing this. And my man went to go to Top Golf maybe a few days later, because I told him, I'm like, don't go golf first. Go to the driving range first, because there's no way your patience will get through this. My man's fought professionally, great grappler, owns his own gym, amazing. Went to Top Golf with the boys for a bachelor party. And I saw a video of him losing his shit. Like, he couldn't hit the ball properly. And I'm like, bro, I tried to tell you. You wanted to jump to 18 holes before you even went to a driving range to know how to hit a fucking ball. So, yeah, no, I know a lot of people like you. I do have to ask, though, JJ, have you had one shining moment yet in a golf course? And if so, what was that one great moment for you so far?
I figured out that my swing makes the ball goes all the way this way. So what I did is I aimed all the way over there, completely away from my fucking target, and I hit it, and it went on the green.
Listen, hold on. You know what? Great, Tiger Woods, y'all. Like, this is the moment. Good for you, sir.
I was like, my swing makes it go all the way that way. So I'm gonna just aim for like those bushes over there and see what happens. And it went ding, and it went where I wanted it to go.
Hey, listen, it takes a lot of time to actually get some of those swing elements down. The issue that I had was I was playing baseball, and at first I was hitting the golf ball as a kid like it was a baseball, and they're like, "No, it's two different kinds of swings." Like you got to adapt some things. And then once I could do that, I felt okay. JJ, I'll tell you this right now: I'm not a heavily competitive person, but with you, I feel like I would be a good sport. I would be a good part of that caddy system. So you're the only guest I've said this to, but I would go golfing with you because I think my non-competitiveness would probably be good for your hyper-competitiveness so that you got your own hype man on the golf course. It's like, yo, bro, that looked great. Because
Make me feel good.
I would absolutely make you feel great. My wife puts it best. She's like, you're only highly competitive with 10 people. She goes, otherwise, you're the funnest person to be around. But if it's one of those 10 people, you fucking will stay until someone dies. Like, you will stay there and be like, set up Monopoly again, set up Scrabble. You're not one of those 10 people. And
I'm good.
I think we could be there. Now, the gym owner, he's one of those 10 people. So when we roll, sometimes we're like, we're no clock. Let's just go. And like, if he's not beating me and I'm not beating him, I'm like, nope, we're still going. Nope. So I don't think that's how we work. And I think, yes, we can make that happen. And I would go golf for you, even though I hate it, but you're different. So when you're back in LA or California, we can make something happen, sir.
That'll be cool.
All right, let's get into this fight because didn't expect that you actually were golfing. You just look the part, but man, you were owning it. And I have to say, now that I'm thinking about the fight, I want to pause that for a second. Is this a bad sign that golf angers you so much, but you're in the apparel? Because you don't have to dress the part. I think that only further antagonizes you in the golf scene. So I think you might just be making yourself more insane by doing that, sir.
Well, I want to be good at it, so you gotta indulge yourself into it. If you want to be good, you gotta act the part, you gotta look the part, you gotta try to be good at it. But or else,
My man's just telling me right now. He's like, "No, Raph, I'm all in now. This shit's for real. This is my way of life. Forget this Bellator title. Now it's all about showing fools who's the best on the golf course." So, all right, let's talk about this fight. How did it come together? I think one of the things that's hard for me when I'm watching this is to contain my excitement because obviously I want you to win. And, I also want good fights. So I'm somewhere in between like, hey, man, beat a motherfucker up in the first 30 seconds so we go home and you win and it's great. But then as you keep going up higher, there is a part of me that's like, yo, I want people to see what you're capable of. So whatever gets you closer to a title, whatever gets you closer to that shot, it's not a bad thing if they can see that you can hang and have these scraps and be a valuable player. So it's hard to go between those two different areas. But this was definitely one of those scraps that I think people really, if they haven't seen you fight, I think they get a glimpse of how tough you can be and what a showstopper you can be.
Yeah, definitely. My opinion is if I can go in there and finish everyone in 30 seconds, thank you. I'm gonna get in there and do my job as quick as possible. You know what I mean? But I go out there with that full intention. I'm going in there. I'm stopping you as quick as possible. And as I've been climbing up the ladder and fighting tougher and tougher opponents, they just don't seem to fall when I want them to fall or tap when I want them to tap. You know what I mean? So, it makes me have to do more, which I don't mind doing. This is the fight business, this is what we do. But, when the guy's arm's literally on backwards and you're trying to break it in half and they're not tapping, you know what I mean? You're like, oh, I guess jiu-jitsu doesn't work. What the fuck?
I mean, it looked pretty effective to me. I think the only thing was the rest of us were tapping. Probably you in your head were tapping for the dude, but you're like, can you basically tap so we can stop? And I got to be honest, I was surprised it did end up going the distance because that armbar looked rough, dude. And it's great when the social media team gets a hold of that clip and goes, yeah, let's put this on here. Because even they're like, yo, how did he get out of this? I go, dude, they're salivating after this man's arm breaking. They don't give a shit. But I
They
looked at
wanted to
everything.
break. They want the guy's arm to break. I could see it in their fucking eyes. They're like, break it, break it. They were talking about the Ronda Rousey Misha Tate thing. They wanted that thing to break in half. You know, I did too. But I'll be honest, I couldn't feel my arms at that point. You know what I mean? I was like, man, I don't know if I got enough in my arms to break this guy's arm. And I was trying. I was like tugging on it. I was like, man, I don't think I got enough to fully put it in half because I had broken the tendons. I felt the tendon snap. You know, you could feel it pop 3 times. I felt it pop, 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 and I was like, okay. The next pop is his arm, and I just like I couldn't put enough behind it to get to that point. I was like, God damn it.
I think the only thing that made me laugh was, and you can tell me differently, but I think in the end of that third round, you kind of have what looks like, all right, this should be a done deal kind of armbar. But then you kind of realize this dude's not tapping. So you're the only person I think I've ever seen with an armbar, like let go with one arm and just have like their hand up like this. Like, what is this? Is this not happening? Like, what's happening? Like, I legitimately saw you look around at everybody being like, no, guys, I promise you, normally this kills the arm, but I don't think the arm can die anymore. Is that how you felt? Because it looked that way at the end when they were calling it.
Yeah, well, so I bent the arm fully backwards twice, not once, twice. I did it twice. I bent it backwards twice, and then after the second time, I was just like, you know what? He's not gonna tap, and I don't think I got enough to put his arm in half. So I was like, I had him controlled. I was just like, he can't really get out. So I was like, "Wow, just punch him in the face then," and then so punching him in the face.
I mean, listen, modern problems require modern solutions. And I thought,
That's pretty much.
hey, listen, man, it sounds good to me. I just knew, okay, so from the get-go in round one, you know, a money position for you is also a triangle. And I saw you work that. And then you lose the triangle, you're in a little bit of danger, and you see kind of his scope of what he does with his jiu-jitsu, which is more of a contain and try and get in some strikes here where he could. And I was like, okay, I think what's happening now is everything you're going to go to is going to pull out something big and deep out of you. But when that was happening in the first round, I didn't feel you were in danger, but I did feel like it was, you had to take a moment to recalibrate. So what was your team telling you between like that part of the first round and going into your second?
So like I'm gonna go into the first round a little bit when he took my back. So I had that triangle, and then he kind of like maybe he kind of jumped over, and then I was kind of backwards. I turned, I kind of elevated into a turtle position, tried to turn and face him, and then he managed to get my back, and he locked up the body triangle. And then like I don't know why, but my brain was kind of foggy at that point. I like wasn't thinking of how to escape the body triangle. And then he hit me a couple times. He like got me some good punches. And then it made me remember. I was like, oh, that's how I escaped. It made me remember the fucking escape. After about like the sixth punch, I took it and I go, oh, that's how I get out. I remember like fight the bottom foot, use it, pass it to my other leg, catch it, and then turn and face him. So you'll see my defense instantly change after one of his punches. He like punched me, and then the light bulb went off in my head, like ding. Oh, that's the escape. I remember how to get out of this position. And then I turn, I get out of it, and then I start dropping elbows on him and start pummeling him.
Hold on. I need you to understand that every part of me takes the fight game seriously. And every part of this is like, yep, it's dangerous. It's crazy. Much respect to you guys. I don't know how I'm supposed to keep a straight face when you're like, man, he had my back. And I was like, how do I get out? Whop. Oh, you dummy. Let's get on out of this. Like, I've never heard a guest describe it as like he punched the escape back into my brain.
That was pretty much what he did, you know. I was like, man, I'm stuck in this fucking stupid back control. I guess I'm gonna wait till the end, and then he fucking punches me, and I go, oh wait, that's how I get out. And then I fucking beat the leg, and I was like, oh shit, I'm out.
JJ, I listen, man. Your style is already captivating and fun as fuck to watch. But I swear to God, this was not part of the interview I expected. I thought you might be like, yeah, he had the back for a little bit, but no big deal. I was kind of figuring some stuff out. Felt like EBI overtime rules. Man, yeah, when you get stuck, it's all good. You push through. No, this is you being like, well, we had a temporary out of service sign on my head. I had to wait for maintenance to come in and reboot the system. And then he basically hit me. And it's the start, you know, when your computer reboots and it's boom, 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 like it came back up.
I realized, oh shit, that's what I do. I remember how to beat this position.
So, okay, knowing that you've got a great corner, I had asked you what they had said. So I imagine they're more talking at you than asking you for intel on what happened. But is there a moment when you communicated this to your team? And if so, what did they tell you when you were like, yeah, guys, we're in the honesty zone? I forgot how to fight for like 2 minutes and I'm so sorry. Like, you know, I'm good at this.
I told them that after they all just laughed and said, "Well, you ended that round good." But yeah, during the fight, yeah, when I went back to my corner, you know, then I take a few deep breaths. They wait about, you know, they give me a drink of water. They wait about 15 seconds before they say something, and then they're like, "Okay, you're doing great. Let's not go to mount anymore. You know, let's look for the side control. Let's look for ground and pound in the side control, and let's try to strike with him a little bit." Because you can do whatever you want with this guy. You can take him down. You can strike with him, but let's make him desperate a little bit. Let's make him strike with you. And then that's why when I came out in the second round, I was striking with him, and then he rushed in, and then I threw him.
Yeah, I saw that moment. And there was a moment that it felt like a little bit of your friends at San Diego may have had some help on that, because I looked at that and that looked like a J Flow highlight where I go, this motherfucker's hitting this shit in a fucking fight. God damn him. Like, granted, I'm very happy for you, but it just looks so effortless. Like, do you know how much work I have to put in to make some of that look even sloppy to get someone to kind of like, I'm tripping now. Yours just look like in a fight. I'm like, this dude's doing a fucking judo setup. Like, where does he get off and have it work for him? So, yeah, I mean, especially once
And
you turn that on.
that throw, personally, I think is one of the hardest throws because he has double unders. So he's got the best position on you that you can have standing, and like a Greco-Roman thing, like double unders is that's one of the best positions you could get. And then I'm throwing him from there. So I was like, you know,
Oh,
that
don't
kind of
worry.
what I actually didn't expect him to go down. I thought he was just going to base his hand, and then I realized I was in side control. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh shit, it worked.
Hold on. You know what, JJ? I may have to destroy this interview altogether. I can't give this out to the people for them to just be like, guys, I don't know what happened in this fight, but like things just magically worked. I just was like, let's try this real hard thing, because I want to point this out. I'm not done giving you mess. You went from this beautiful takedown, and then you start thinking like, all right, he's hitting all these things that are kind of like weird percentages, like sometimes low for other people. He's got to play this safe. He's going to an omoplata. This motherfucker is now bringing an omoplata into a fucking fight. So that's why my brain was just like, what's happening? And then like the part of me that just said, if this was just a jiu-jitsu match, we're money, we're great. But you always have that fear of like, make sure you're on top. Yep, that's good. You better not go clinch. Don't fucking go clinch right now. Just fucking do your job. Like, beat the fucking wheels off this dude. So again, that was kind of what was happening in my head where I go, the nerve of this man.
The omoplata. I love omoplata. People hate omoplata because they think like, oh man, that position is so hard to finish. But it's not true. Like omoplata is such a great. It is really difficult to finish, but it's such a great weapon to use because you can ground and pound the guy from the bottom, and like if they mess up, you can still submit them. You know, like that guy went to go stand up when I had the omoplata, and I almost laced the back leg what like Clark Gracie does. You know what I mean? He loves that. You know, I was trying to hit that, and that's such a great submission to hit. Yeah, I don't think anyone has even hit that in MMA before, but it's such a strong submission, and you
No, no.
don't get punched in the face on the bottom from
Let,
omoplata. It's
let me
impossible.
see if I can help you out here. I don't think that they're mad necessarily at the move. They're mad that they're not as good at the move. See, that's purely where mine is coming from because I don't mind you using it. It clearly is effective for you and you use it beautifully, especially when you can transition from your triangle. Like your system that you have there, it's pretty dope. And I think it would be problematic for me. And obviously, you ended up in a position where you could kind of start striking this guy. So it worked. If you
Mm.
ask me to do an omoplata point blank, the minute someone tries to roll, I just go like, I'm done. I'm just gonna take side control now. Like, sure, that's fine. Most people, like a Clark Gracie, there is no roll. There is a, yeah, dude, you're stuck here. This is where we're at.
Yeah,
And
it's
in
tough to
your
get
case, it
out.
was like, hold on, I'm gonna see what I can do here. And then you did end up coming on top, and then you go, dope, this is gonna work for me. And so you go back into this chain, and it just looked like a really good jiu-jitsu second round for you. So that to me is when I feel like things are more at base. You know, you're not telegraphing, but you're showing to the rest of us like, yo, I can hit this arm. You're starting to show us like, yo, this is really good for me. So I'm sure that had to be a good confidence builder going into that second where you kind of had literally jiu-jitsu bingo that you were crossing off here and there and being like,
Did you see my
no, man.
Monaro?
Yeah, I did.
My Monaro. He's on the bottom. I was like, Monaro. I got his heel too. His heel was out. I grabbed the heel and it slipped off, and I was like, fuck it, just punch him.
I would say if I have an aspiring jiu-jitsu person that wants to fight, I may just start showing them this fight to be like, hey, listen, guys, you can make some weird shit work. It's just, you got to be at a pretty high level. I wouldn't encourage it for every
No, no,
person.
no, 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 no. I will definitely not encourage it. I've seen some people try to. I've seen people try to mimic me, and they like kind of like in MMA fights, and then they get devastatingly cut. You know what I mean? They get caught with a big elbow, and then they get big cuts open up, and then the referee stops the fight. If you notice, when I'm on the bottom, even when I'm attacking arms, I'm always covering his elbow with my hand. Like, if it doesn't matter the impact is not what is bad. It's actually the bone. If the bone meets your bone, it's instant. It's like a knife. It's just going to slice you right open. So what I was always doing is I was tracking his elbow with my hand. So every single time he would elbow me, that it would hit my hand, and then my hand would hit my face. So I would still get the impact, but I was hiding it. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, as long as the bone doesn't hit me, I can do whatever I want. But if the
Yep.
bone hits me, it's gonna cut me open like a knife. So, but that's not as easy to do either. You take some practice.
Oh, believe me, I have white belts who will accidentally hit you with their elbows. So I'm quite familiar with the like, nope, just
Yeah,
not the
yeah, yeah.
face, everybody.
I'm, I'm gonna keep right here. You're not gonna hit me.
It's just you can spaz and do whatever you want, but I swear to God, if you ruin this, and I have a black eye, at least you have a fight. You have some like video footage. I have literally nothing if I come into it. My wife was telling me this like before we got married. The week of, she just goes, I swear to God, if any of these fuckers ruins our photos because they gave you some sort of scar or a black eye, I myself will kill them. And I go, yeah, no, we're fine. We're fine. So cut to me that week, especially when I was rolling gi. I was telling the guys, I was like, no gi burns, no anything, not the face. So there have been a couple of interviews though where like I have a little bit of a shiner and I'm just kind of like, I mean, it's a good thing I'm a grappling host. This would be harder to explain on different shows for different
Yeah,
reasons.
definitely. Like a political show,
Oh,
you would not get away with that.
no. And you know what though? I'd like to think it'd be some street cred. So I would love to have that happen. But instead, when you go to civilians and you're like, yeah, my friend elbowed me in the eye, and you're like, you said your friend did that? Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty mad at him, but I'll probably do it to him at some point too, accidentally. Womp, womp, how it goes. And then everybody looks at you like, you guys are fucking insane.
So, I wasn't gonna tell anyone this until like a couple fights after, just so people, so the commission or whatever. But right before my fight, I think it was on the I think it was on Wednesday. We're training, we're cutting weight, and then we're just doing some drills, some like get up drills from the bottom, right? So I'm the guy's holding me down. I get up, and then I was holding him down. He goes to get up, and his heel hits my eye and just cuts it open. Can you see it?
Yeah.
And just slices it open, and it was a big fucking big cut, and it's pouring blood down my face on Wednesday. And we're like, fuck. Dustin Poirier runs to the fucking CVS and buys super glue. Comes back and we fucking alcohol, super glue it shut, and I walk around the rest of the week like this.
Oh my
and then,
God.
and then like I don't want to. I don't tell nobody. I'm with the commission, like doing the medical test, and I'm literally talking to like they're in front of me, and I'm looking out the window, fucking talking to them, hiding my eye. you know? And then, once I got in the cage, I was like, I don't have to hide anything anymore because they're not going to pull the fight now.
Okay. A few things I need as a qualifier here. Let me see if I heard that correctly. You needed something from, let's say, a CVS or a Walgreens or a store, and you had nobody else to send other than Dustin Poirier. So you're just like, hey, also, can you get me a coffee while you're out, bud? I'm really gonna want some
No,
gummy bears after we're there. Like, no one else can make this. You don't have a concierge that you can hire and get somewhere else.
So like all our coaches and all of us, because we had a total of 4 guys fighting on the card. So all 4 of us are all warming, all training, and then all the coaches are training the other guys. And Dustin he trained with us the day before, but he was just sitting there and watching this time. So like as soon as I got cut, they're looking at it, and then he was like, I'm going to buy the super glue. And he just went and bought it and came back.
What a sweetheart. This fucking guy, dude. Literally every story that you hear of this guy, you're just like, yeah, he seems like a pretty dope dude. He's the real dude.
No, he's a awesome, super cool dude. I was really surprised. In Ireland, people don't really like Conor McGregor. They love Dustin, though.
Well, I mean, have you seen what Conor's done? And have you seen what Dustin's done? I think you have your hero and villain pretty easily here. You would assume he has the home field advantage. That
I
maybe
would assume, but they're like, cause they hate him.
I think what's happened over the time is this, and I think that this will require some additional time. But I think that we've had time to get to know both of these gentlemen over the years, and I think that when you see Dustin, the only thing you can really roast about him is that man loves him some Hawaiian shirts. Like, other than that, I got no real beef with him. I'm like, dude, that dude has nothing but Hawaiian shirts that he shows up in. It's like the ultimate dad on vacation wardrobe. Other than that, I'm like, yo, he helps people, charity, great fighter, savage, fun.
No, he's a great dude. He's awesome.
But then you look at Conor and you go, that's a real personality test to figure out what's the thing that made you not a Conor McGregor fan. Was it the throwing at the dolly at the bus? Was it the getting into a fight with the dude at the pub? And other questionable
An old
things.
Dude. He beat up an old dude.
Exactly. And I think the worst part is the old dude took the punch And when you have that, you're like, hey, man, I don't want to tell you how to do your business. But if you're a pro fighter and that old dude's not getting knocked out, maybe we should pump the brakes on fighting people. You know what I mean? Like maybe your knockout power isn't quite there. But in his own way, very, very good at contributing to our sport so that people get crazy. I think the only downside of the Conor McGregor thing is if you really extrapolate it further, it's kind of why we have the Jake and Logan Paul now. It's like the next generation of it. Yeah, that's how that started on this modern era. It's not to say that Conor invented trash talk. It's just like,
but like, I don't really mind what they're doing. I hate them. You know, I don't really like them. But I don't mind what they're doing for the sport. You know what I mean? Like, they're doing great things for the sport. They actually bring so much fucking eyes to the sport, which is good for everyone. You know, I'd love to see him get his ass beat. I just don't think Dylan Dennis is going to be the one to do it. Dylan Dennis is not against Logan. I don't know if he does. I've seen him. I've seen him fight, and he was doing the arm and eye roll from the other side of the cage. He wasn't. He wasn't throwing punches, so you know what I mean. I hope for the best, but hopefully he pulls out so we can get Mike Perry in there, and then he will fucking destroy him.
okay, this is how much I hate being the guy I am as a host, because there's a part of me that reads so much stuff about Dylan Dennis and him in particular that you go, is that a meme or is that news? Because the two have a big overlap. And part of my brain was like, did I read that he had already pulled out? And instead, no, the headlines read, he's teasing a pullout. Mike Perry's on the ready. And you look at this and you go, oh my God, I hate this so much because I can't remember. Yeah. And like, why should I have to be tasked? Like, I should immediately have like a thing, because the common sense knows, yeah, he's probably going to pull out, right? Like, that's what your brain logically has in there.
I saw something this morning that it was like he posted something on his Twitter saying, I'm done, or I'm over this, or some shit like that. But I read it, I was like, that doesn't say he pulled out. And there's no like official statement saying that he's pulled out. So he's probably just having a bitch moment. You know, saying like he's over the court side stuff.
Yeah. I would tell you this.
Him or something.
I would tell you this though. The reason why this is so absurd and why it is a sideshow, and it makes sense as a sideshow, is you could never tweet out, I'm over this, like before your fight. So it's like they exist in two different spheres. Like this sideshow where you go, nah, he's probably going to pull out. It's a good thing we got Mike Perry waiting in the background. Whereas with you, they'd be like, you go, I'm over this. They go, great, we're just going to move you out. Thanks for being a fighter. Goodbye, sir. Goodbye forever.
Yeah,
we'll never have you fight again. Like,
yeah, that's it. Your career's over. You're done.
But the fact that we're still on like I don't know how this is going to turn out. And I'm like, I think he's telling you how it's going to turn out. I think we fully expect it. If he shows up and there's a prop bet and somebody put a prop bet of like, I believe he'll show up, somebody's about to make some money, because the rest of us are like, dude, I don't think he's going to make it.
You could probably find that bet somewhere.
Oh, the compulsive gambler host knows these things very well. So you don't have to ask. I'll be like, sir, I'll send you a link a little bit later. You can find it for yourself. Not like we endorse betting, but DraftKings, talk to your boy. We'll get there. So JJ, okay, so obviously that's got to be terrible to get that cut, because you're doing it warming up. And I've heard these stories, and I know it can be mentally frustrating. At any time once you're in the cage, though, are you trying to be sensitive to that? Are you still trying to block stuff from there? Because I'll tell you, I know we were kind of progressing through a little bit of the fight, but that third round, man, you were starting to make a statement right there. Like, that was you saying like, all right, I showed you what I can do on the jiu-jitsu side. Now we're going to stand and bang. And the way you were cutting off the corner and you were forcing him against that cage to stand and bang with you, I thought like that's you walking down some shit, man. And I was very, very proud of you on that moment.
So, you know, before the fight, one of my coaches, Steve Marco, he's like, you know, you're different. You're a different caliber than this guy. When as the fight progresses, you only get better. As the fight progresses, the more in favor this is going to be for you. So, guys, in the first round, you don't need to rush anything. The second round, you don't need to rush anything. And the third round, then you put it on him. He's gonna die there. He goes. This guy doesn't. He's not like you. He doesn't improve as the fight goes on. So coming out in that third round, if you notice, in the first round, I took the shot right off the bat because I wanted to wear down his power. I felt like he was really explosive coming forward, so I was like, let's kind of wear down that power a little bit. And then that second round, I was trying to strike with him, and then he engaged in the wrestle. And in that third round, I had found my range. I had found how to stop him from coming in, and I felt like I could do whatever I wanted to him at that point. And then, if you see, right in the beginning, I take away his right hand. He tries to throw a big right hand, and I land a heavy body kick. And then he tries to do it again, and I land another heavy body kick. Every single time he throw a right hand, I throw a left body kick to shut down. Because what that does, it makes people glue their hand to their rib cage. Because if they don't, they're gonna get dropped. So I took away his main weapon, his right hand. Now I only have to deal with the jab and the hook. So now I'm just standing there at range, just hitting him, and I'm just moving my head, making the jab miss. I don't have to worry about the backhand no more.
So was that even more surprising that by doing all these things, which clearly he wasn't able to strike back with, that when you do all of that and then all of a sudden you look at his arm and you go, this should be done, dude. Like, I'm being a real dick here. I did all the right things. This should be a wrap. We should be going home now. So,
Well,
way to go,
on the
dude.
feet, on the feet, I was kind of surprised. I don't know why I shot. I think it's because he committed so heavily on the jab that I slipped it perfect, and it was way past, and his legs were right there. It was like too easy to pass it up, but I should have just passed on it because I would have knocked him out in that third round if I stayed standing up. But like, I'm in the gym all the time where we got big gloves on. But you ain't gonna knock nobody out with those big gloves on. So in that circumstance, you put him down. So that's why I shot. You know what I mean?
That makes sense. I have to say, man, like, all things considered, you know, it's just so funny to me to put all these things together because, in the third round, I did see you kind of blocking off very well when he was throwing some of those elbows. And I'm pretty sure, when you've got that there, you're like, let's not expose it because let's not make it look like he's doing more damage than he really is. Because that's part of what this is. You don't want, obviously, that to show anything, but you also know that it could be opened easier where you're like, dude, I'm beating this guy. I don't want to make it seem like I'm not. So all
Yeah.
of those things play factors. But, dude, I think the thing that made me laugh is you finish the fight and then you immediately start getting into this like light jog around where you're just celebrating. And I'm like, this dude's ready to run a marathon too. Like, like I love the adrenaline rush that you have, and it's, I'm sure, captivating. But to me, I'm like, he's not tired, and that's kind of annoying when you see he had a dog of a fight that he's just like, let's keep going, dude.
So that was like a mental thing. I sat there for a second and I felt it. You know what I mean? I was like, man, I'm tired. Like my butt. I was just in a wall. And then in my mind, I was like, the judges are still fucking watching, and I didn't finish this guy. I need to get up and I need to show them that I won this fight. You know what I mean? So I got up, I ran, I jumped on the cage. I was like, I even said, I won that shit. I won that shit because I wanted to like imprint into the judge's mind, like, hey, I am levels above this guy. Not only did I just smash him, I'm still ready to go another 2 rounds if this was a title fight. You know what I mean?
I think what I am going to start doing is I'm going to offer services for this exact thing. Like, I'm going to be the coach. If you got two coaches, you'd be your striking coach, your grappling coach. And if there's Raf on your team, it's going to be the no, get up, get up. This is where we go. And they're like, the fight's finished. I was like, fight's not done. We got to celebrate, bro. We got to get up. And be like, you're gonna have like time drills like right after they finish a round in the gym, and I'll be like, no, up. celebrate. I need you to fucking do like an end zone dance. That's what we need, bro. We got to make
I
these
need an
judges
end-zone
with the
dance.
impressions. So I feel like there's a whole untapped market of a hype coach that can help you make your way to get that judge's decision. Because we've seen some shit happen where somebody celebrates a little too much, and I was like, I don't think that dude won. Shit, the judges gave it to that dude because he was fucking crunk. So yeah, thank you,
but
JJ.
let's say in a close fight where it could go either way, and you see two fighters, one that just edged down, you're like, oh man, I think this guy won. But that guy falls on the ground and takes a deep breath, and he's like, and then the other guy who's running around the cage with his hand raised like this, like fucking beating to the air, fucking. He's in a club dancing. He's like, "Sa, sa, sa." Who are the judges gonna give it to? The guy that's dancing, obviously. You know what I mean? Because
Listen, I get it, dude. I'm just saying, like, I'm not gonna help you with your wrestling. I'm not gonna help you with your striking. I'm purely for the after fight. So, like, I'll also be the coach that reminds you, hey, let them know where the after party is. Remind these fools. Shout out your sponsors. Like, nah, dude, this is a whole PR firm I'm gonna start up as a business now. I got it.
this is the dance you should do after the fight. This is what you
Bro,
should do on the cage.
I will tailor the dance to the athlete because you don't want to do something that doesn't look right. You got to do something that looks celebratory. One of the homies on the fight team, he recently got married. And I have this rule about when people get married. If you've been married, you know that there are cheaper ways to do it. You can go to the courtroom. All good. Do what you want. Like whatever's best for you and your partner, go do that. But if you do have a wedding, you don't have to invite us. Because once you got married, you're like, dude, I don't have to go to every wedding. But if you do, be prepared because I'm going to give you a great wedding experience. And so the homies on the fight team, we get together. They got married. They're like, oh shit, Raph can dance. And I was like, motherfuckers, if you give me the honor of being invited, you get the full package. You don't have to invite me. But like, nah, dude, there's going to be scheduled times. We got to be up. And at one point, one of the guys was like, yo, I can't dance. And I was like, you're fighting like you dance. You can't do the same. I was like, you're literally in your stance right now, dude. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he just laughs. And I was like, yo, this is why these fighters need this hype coach so that they can get in the right zone to have somebody hype them up when they're actually there.
So I've been out with some jiu-jitsu guys. Like we were going to a club or some bar, whatever, and they can't dance. You know what I mean? So I'm like, look, this is what you do. I was like, you know how to hip escape, right? They're like, yeah, I know how to hip escape. I go, just start hip escaping. Just hip escape, side to side, standing, and you're good. And every now and again, you just do Harai Goshi. You know, this is Harai Goshi. You hit him with a couple hip escapes, and then you do a couple Harai Goshis, and then you're the dance master.
But the weird part is I have to explain it to my wife a little bit later. I'm like, I promise you they have great movement. Like, if you see them in the gym,
They're fluid.
They're so flowing state. But it was something about like, okay, now I got to do this out there. And they get all stiff. And you look at them and you're like, who are you, dude? Like, oh, God. All right, man.
You're like this athletic guy in the gym, but out here you look like a robot, bro. What the hell's going on?
And my favorite was like, there was a dude who I was like, hey, come here. And he's like, what? I was like, I'm going to give you like one step to do. Because I can't let you out there, buddy. Like, it's like, if I was a coach, I'd pull you from the game. And he's like, yeah. And I go, and you're getting progressively drunker. So, you know, just kind of like, we're going to give you the cholo, like up. Yeah, just this. And this dude's like that. I go, yeah, that's all you have to do, man. I'll give you guys, I tailor it to your best part. Your shoulders are broad. You just do this. People are going to think you're dancing because they're drunk. And yeah, I mean, I just tell people all the time, I'm like, yeah, sometimes people, when they get in that post fight, even if I've interviewed them or I've seen them on TV, I always tell people, I think I get the most nervous when they put the microphone to you guys. Because I think you're more than capable as athletes of handling yourself there. But when you get to the talky part, that's my department. And I go, oh no. So good news, you were great with Big John. So nothing to report there, but I can say that other athletes who have appeared on this show, when they have won and you go, yes, and then they say something incredibly stupid, and I know I'm going to have to talk to them in a few weeks, it's always me going, hey man, we gotta work on that. I'm not even putting this on air. I'm going to tell you this off air, dude. You got to plan out at least bullet points next time you go up. So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember before the fight, I was like, you know what I'm gonna say? I'm just gonna tell Donald to stand the fuck up. That's all I'm gonna say. After that, that's like I'm probably just gonna walk away after that. That was pretty much all I wanted to say.
Honestly, listen, dude, playing to the crowd, playing to your home crowd is not a bad play. Like, listen, you're in Ireland. Most of these guys are probably going to be right. So
Oh, they're wasted.
Yeah. Why not tell them, like, what's up? What's good? Because what are they going to say? Like, boo, this guy, your fight was only so
No, now
captivating.
they're like, they love me even more, you know? They're like,
So-
this guy likes us. I like him too.
He knows where he
We can
is.
be
I
friends.
like this cat.
Yeah.
So, no, you made the right choice. And more importantly, it's not just hitting the crowd, because there is a crowd at home. There's the audience watching at home. You do the talking part, but you hit the most important thing, which is when they ask you the question of, well, what do you guys want to do right now? What do you got going on? You did the, hey man, I'm trying to fight for a championship. So I don't give a shit. Give me a champ. And then I was like, that's all we need to communicate, sir. So to me, if I hear those things, I think, all right, we're setting up what's next.
Yeah, 100%. You know, it was really cool because after I got out of the doctor, because right after you fight, they take you backstage, they take you straight to the doctor. Doctor checks you out, and then you're free to go. So as soon as I walk out of the doctor, Mike Hogan's there, right, and he's like, "That was fucking amazing." And I was like, you know, Mike Hogan's like one of the main guys at Bellator, and I was like, "Thank you." And then he's like, "I only," he goes, "It's only gonna get harder from here." And I said, "That's what I want to hear." And then he goes, "Well, the really good thing is everyone's in the Grand Prix. So as soon as the Grand Prix is over, you're probably going to be fighting for a title." And then he walked away. I was like, "Thanks. I guess that's what's going to happen then."
Bro, you listen, I can't say it enough in the fight game, usually in the world period, when you're working in jobs. Close mouths don't get fed. So, like, you saying it is what they need to hear, especially after a good performance. I'm sure in their head, they're thinking, like, yeah, I mean, if we can give it to this dude. But if you're asking for it and actively seeking it out and you are on that message, they see that performance. They think, all right, man, let's see how this plays out. You're probably fighting for a title. Deuces, and then like vanish into the night. And all you're thinking is, what just happened? That's exactly what I want. So, yeah, 100%. That's got to be the best moment of the world before going to
I hit
whatever
my
you're doing
coach. I was
next.
like, did you hear what he said?" And he's like, "That's pretty fucking sick."
So let's ask this, because you're still in Ireland. You know, obviously it takes a few days, et cetera, travel, all that sort of stuff. Did you do anything to celebrate? Like, have you taken in any of the scenes while you're out in Ireland? Has it just been an exploration of all the greatest parts of the hotel you're at? Like, what's been happening for you since you've been out there, sir?
Mostly it's been the exploration of this hotel, but I have managed to get out into the wilderness and check out Ireland, and I definitely would say that Ireland is probably not a place for me. You know, like it's a great, they got some great historic things, but you know, the people here could use some dental, you know, some dental care, to put it nicely. You know?
Jesus Christ. So I love
But
that you hold
yeah,
on. I love that you showed the range as a comedian. I can tell you the range that you did, which was, hey, play to the home audience. Hey, what's up, Ireland? I love you guys. What's good? Also, while I'm on the subject, what's up with y'all's teeth, man? I'm serious. What's going on over here? Like the fact that you went from face to heel within seconds, you're like, now that I've got them, I've got some issues. Let's talk about your dental benefits. Do you guys have them? I haven't seen them yet.
But with that being said, man, they got some pretty cool shit over here, like historic shit. I went to this castle, and there's fucking cannonballs still in the wall of the castle, and but it was like everything in there was tiny. I was like, man, were these people midgets living in these castles? Like, were leprechauns actually real, and the leprechauns were the ones that were living in these castles? Because everything in this fucking castle was tiny. I was like, this is probably where they got leprechauns from. The leprechauns were living in this castle.
JJ, I think you are slowly becoming the most unserious guest that we've ever had. Like the fact that now you're like, I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of stuff now. These leprechauns, I think they're a real thing. It's like, well, smaller people are an actual thing. No, man. I think they got some leprechauns. They've been hiding from me. They come out.
No,
They get
I
their
think
lucky
they were
charms.
living in that castle. That I think they built that castle that I went to because everything was so small. But they built that, and that's where they were living. They left now. They left now. I don't know where they are now, but they built that castle, and that's where they were living.
I'm so glad that everybody has their conspiracy theory. You got people who are like, nah, aliens, they built the pyramids. That's what's happened. The hill you're dying on is, nah, these leprechauns built this castle. I'm telling you, fam, I can't prove it, but I know it deep in my heart. And I'm going to prove it one of these days. I'm going to corner a leprechaun and be like, tell me about your family history. Did they build this?
That's the only explanation. Like that, the rooms were so small. The bathroom to go into the bathroom was like, I was like curling over to get through the door. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, what the hell is this? And then when you get inside, it's huge. I'm like, bro, you had this huge ass room, but the door is like the size of like my leg, man. What the fuck is this?
I think the thing that I would probably be the most tipped off on is I would see that and go, y'all don't have a better architecture guy or something? Like, they didn't plan this out better in case somebody might come over, a guest from a different place who's maybe a little taller. No? Okay. It's just like, bro.
Like
I don't know.
the cars, they had this really cool thing at the front, right? Where they had like it was like a spiked fence that would drop, and then that had this little area where they would pour fucking fat on people if they don't want them in. I'm like, you did all of that, but you made your bathroom door about the size of fucking that a leprechaun can fit in. Like 1 + 1 is gonna equal 2, man. That's it over here.
I do love the fact that you truly are in your guest phase of being over there, being like, yeah, yeah, all right, I see what you guys did here. You guys didn't think about higher ceiling? Okay. No, it's cool. It's a good place. I love this castle. It's super good. Can't use the restroom, but super dope. 7 out of 10. Might recommend. I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, it's okay. Since you've become more fascinated with golf, I've heard there's some beautiful golf courses. Why didn't you take some clubs and go out there or rent some or talk to somebody, maybe steal them from somebody over there and make something happen for yourself, sir?
It's raining all the time right now.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah, so
that's one of the things they got going on. So that's why it's been so boring. No wonder I was like, "Hey man, you want to do an interview?" And you're like, "Bro, I got time." And I'm like, "Oh shit. Yeah, it's raining, so you can't do shit."
it's pouring down with rain. We don't got a car. We're biking. We would walk up. I went for a bike ride earlier. There's got some bikes outside that you can just walk up and rent, kind of like a bird thing. So we went and got those and went into the city, and then it started pouring down on us. So we raced back. But yeah, there's not much we can do in the rain.
Yeah. It's a little bit boring out that way. But I mean, home will be happening soon for you, and home happens to be a new place. Since we've last talked, I know you moved on over to Florida. How has that been, man? How is life over in Florida for you? And when did it actually feel like home to you?
Florida's great, man. It's like I've always been moving like majority of my life. You know, I moved from New Zealand over to San Diego, and then I made the move from San Diego to Florida maybe about a year ago, and I went over there. I'm running a school now called Gamblers Jiu-Jitsu. It's we have like 100 and something students, so it's a pretty successful school. Um, we're a great kids program, and then I'm doing all my training out of American Top Team, and over there we got some of the best guys in the world.
That's awesome, man. Because I was wondering what that transformation kind of felt like for you, because you had a great thing carved over in San Diego, and I saw some great results from you there. Um, I was wondering though, when you started getting to that moment where you were going with a new team, when did you feel like you were kind of in sync with each other? Because sometimes it takes a week, sometimes it takes a couple months. When did you feel like you kind of had that same page where you're like, yep, my coaches, we got trust in each other?
Well, it took a while, especially at American Top Team, because there's so many fighters, right? At American Top Team on a Monday, we got 90 professional fighters on the mat training, and 60 of them in the UFC, Bellator, PFL. So there's so many fighters and so many high level fighters inside our gym that it's when you walk in, it's very difficult to get one of the coaches, and you got to take into account too that gym is closed to the public, so it's pros only allowed in there. Um, so when you go in there, you gotta the coaches, you don't have to pay the coaches extra for like the stuff they do. It all comes out of the what you have to pay American Top Team. So the coaches are really open. So how it works there is, if you get along with one of the coaches, you start working with them. So you got to go in there, you got to meet the coaches, you get introduced to them, and then if they like you, then they make time for you. You know what I mean? Then you guys can do private classes with them, and they'll help you with your sparring and then all that kind of stuff. It's so it took me a little bit before I kind of got into the groove of how they operate. But I right away I got along with King Mo, and King Mo kind of he kind of took me in and was my head coach, and he was a big reason why my striking and wrestling has gotten to the point that it's gotten to, because he spent a lot of time on me, and I did. So for this camp I did close to 80 rounds, right, sparring, and I didn't lose a single round. Going against all these tough guys, like I got taken down a couple rounds, but I didn't actually lose any of those rounds. So with that, I had so much confidence. And I didn't even really think about that until like at the end of the my last sparring session. King Mo goes, "Man, I don't think you lost a round this whole camp." And I go, "Really?" And he's like, "Let me think. You haven't lost a single round this whole camp." And I was like, "Oh shit, you're right." And he goes, "Man, you're gonna fuck this guy up." I was like, I think, yeah. And he goes, "I can't wait." Because he was telling me, this guy that you're fighting, he had Islam Makhachev fighting for his life. I mean, this guy is he goes, in my opinion, this guy is top five in the entire world. Like, he's not like top five lightweight across every organization. And he goes, but the thing is you're way better than him everywhere, so you're gonna dominate him. And
Yeah.
then, like, when he was saying that, I was kind of like surprised. Then I went in there with that confidence, and it was like what he said.
I think that's got to be so wild to have someone else point it out to you, because you're competitive enough where you're doing well in your rounds. But if somebody's bringing in these stats like, oh, fam, I was thinking about it. Yeah, you haven't lost a round this whole camp, and you go, You're right. Like you take that moment to go through like every single moment of a round where you're like, I don't know, that guy almost got that. Oh no, I fucked him up after. No, you're right, I did. Yeah, I just love the thought process of like making sure to be like, you know, if that was just me, I would probably have just accepted it, even if I knew it was wrong. I'd be like, yeah, you're right, absolutely. Somebody come in, hey Raph, what about Thursday? I don't remember that. Don't acknowledge it.
Yeah,
No,
see, I sat down. I was like, hold on, let me see if he's right. Let me think about all these rounds. Like, was there a round that I remember going home and being like, fuck, I lost? Because I take, like, when I lose a round, like, it sticks with me. I'm like, man, this fucking guy beat me.
I mean, I still to this day talk about you and Ronnie competing against each other to my friends because you could tell that you guys were funny in the sense. So context for people who don't know. Years ago, you're at Ultimate Mat Warriors. We happened to have you guys compete against each other in a video game segment, but I didn't know for sure that you guys were competing against each other in a match. And match goes one way, video game goes another way. The producer in me is like, run, go get them, make them do the third round over there. So I run. You guys are already at the game, and I go, oh, well, I didn't have to do shit. Okay, well, that's on them then. This is great.
We're already running round 3.
It made me laugh because it spoke to the competitive spirit of both of you guys. And for me, that most other people would say like, oh, we've already competed in this. Darts. Let's get something else going. The fact that you guys went back to something that you had already done was like, no, we have unfinished business here. And I go, my God. Okay. So every time I've talked about the video game segment, you know, you guys have become legends to other people. And actually at Subversive, we recently, in the background while the matches were going on. So I help out at Subversive and I just set up a booth and I just left the video game out there and we just had a camera on it. And we saw people coming in and like randomly like, what's this? And so you see on the camera them like starting to play it. And a couple of my friends were like, hey, why did you do that? And I was like, I think there's something weirdly competitive. Like there's a gene missing in some of these competitors where like their brain could tell them to stop. But I had footage of some guys who stood there for like 30 minutes playing this game. And I go, yeah, it's nothing I'm doing. I just literally put it out there and their brain's like, no, I got to beat this until I beat this. And I go,
yeah, that's pretty much how it is. So my brain is, especially when it comes to competing, like I gotta win. You know, and it's like we gotta keep playing until I win. And then when I win, I'm done. Like I don't want to play no more. But if I'm losing, we gotta keep playing. You know what I mean?
so let's get deeper into this issue. Like I'm a psychologist, even though I'm not. What is the most embarrassing competitive nature? Because you've told us a little bit about the golf, but the golf is not something anybody really is just naturally good at when they start, despite I'm sure your brain telling you otherwise when you were about to pick up a club. Have you ever had a moment where you're like, I think there's something wrong with me because I've gotten way too serious about pool. I've gotten way too serious about Candyland. Like, is there a moment where even you had to acknowledge like this is not healthy?
Well, when you're playing a board game with like 8-year-olds, you know what I mean. You have like a bunch of kids, and you're pulling out the rule book on the kids. You know what I mean? You're like, hey, you can't do that. That's not against the rules. That's breaking the rules. And then they argue with me, and then they start crying, and then I'm like, man, you're not even playing the game right. And then yeah, so that's pretty that I would say that's what's pretty bad.
Feel, and you can't say this because you actually do work with kids, but I'm pretty sure the part of your brain, and you don't have to agree or disagree because I don't want to ruin your business, but I'm pretty sure the part of your brain that sees a kid cry and goes, well, now you lost. Everybody knows tears is a sign of losing. So
I'm like, why you cry? I'm like, why you crying? You just did it wrong. You know what I mean? Like, the crying is not gonna make you win. Like, you gotta win, dude.
okay. Now, with maybe your friends, your family, has there ever been a dark day where you're like, guys, game night's canceled because JJ's insane. So what was gonna be
No,
fun
so
has
like
turned into a bed. Mm-hmm.
when I lose, they say like chess, right? I really like chess. I'm not the best at chess. Like I'm okay at chess. You know, I play it quite a bit, but I like it. But I'm not like the best. I'm not like a fucking. So I played this. I played this guy in chess, and he beat me like over and over and over and over and over and over and over. At this time, it's like 4 a.m. Right? And I was like, let's play another one. He's like, no, I want to go to bed. I was like pissed. I was so mad that he wouldn't play again because I was like, I gotta win. I like genuinely was mad that he wouldn't play another game.
Here's where I want some other clarity because the thing that concerns me is that you are a fighter and that you are capable of mass violence. Not that you would, but I wonder if the streams ever cross where because you can't beat him at chess, you're like, hey, you want to go train right now? I got the keys to the gym. We can make this happen right now.
No, I've definitely done that. I've definitely done that. I remember this one guy. He said, "Violence isn't always the answer," and I said, "In my world, that's the only answer: violence." So it's either you get up and you play, or I beat the fucking shit out of you.
See, I want to point something out here, JJ. I happen to know certain things about guests more sometimes than I think they think I know. So even in our short time of being like, hey, here's some interviews or our time talking with each other in person, it's me feeling like, nah, I know what he's about. Nah, I got this kid figured out. All right. We're just, you know what? It's probably a bad idea to play poker with him because then I would take his money and then he would be really angry at me. And I really don't
Well,
have an
at
answer.
poker, I'm good at poker.
Oh, you're good at poker?
I'm good at poker.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I actually got third at the WSOP at a poker tournament.
Wait, hold on. I didn't know this about you. When did that happen?
That happened maybe a year ago. I won the I got third at the WSOP.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
Congrats, man.
I got some game.
Okay, that's fine. All right, fine. Then poker's out. We're not playing poker. We're playing dominoes.
Poker,
got it.
You know.
Dominoes.
Ah, yeah, dominoes. You got me.
Don't worry, man. You have to understand. I've lived on this earth too long not to have a list out of every game possible with the degree of difficulty that might be for me. So I'm like, I think I can take him in Scrabble, but I gotta make sure.
You got me on Scrabble, but Monopoly, Risk. Have you played this board game? What's that board game called again? Fuck, I think it's Spartacus. No, yes, Spartacus. I think it's called Spartacus. That board game is sick.
So what happens in that board game?
So it's like it's back in the Roman Empire, and then you got the Colosseum, and you get given an empire. Everyone gets given an empire, and then what happens is you got to try and build a legion. You can make deals with the other empires. There's only four, so it's only a 4-player game. You can make deals with other empires, but you can also backstab them and sabotage them and set them up to lose. And then what happens in the beginning is a market phase. So there's a market, and everyone has gold, and you guys got to blindly bid on the market. Whoever has the most, whoever's betting, like you got to put the gold in your hand, and then like 3, 2, 1, turn it over, and whoever gets the most gets that whatever's on the market. It could be a Spartan, it could be an item, or something like that. And then if it's tie, you guys got to go again. So whatever you have in stays in, and then you got to grab some more and bet. And then it happens the Colosseum phase. So you guys got to do the blind market to see who wins, to see who hosts the match, and whoever hosts the match, they pick 2 people to fight, whatever 2 empires to fight, and then those 2 empires got to put up their gladiators to win or lose. And then when the gladiators fight, you can bet on what gladiator is going to win. and it pays odds, and then it pays like decapitated, or it pays, and the decapitation pays more, or if it pays like the like he will die. So basically, what happens is you roll dice. So depending on your Spartan, you get a certain amount of dice, and depending on their Spartan, they get a certain amount of dice, and then their weapons add like extra dice or extra abilities, and then you got to move so you can there's speed on the thing. There's how many spaces they can move, so they have a little fight, and if whoever's rolling the dice, the attacker rolls like the best roll, and the other one rolls the shitty roll, and they don't got enough dice, the person gets decapitated. So your dice is your life. If you run out of dice, that person loses instantly. And then what happens if he gets decapitated? He's dead. That thing's gone. But if he doesn't get decapitated, he wields. He yields. Right? He gives up. And then the host of the thing, he gets to choose if that Spartan lives or dies. So he gets to choose if that one dies or not. And then like if you win in the gladiator, you get honor. And if you host one, you get one honor. And it's the first to like 20 honor wins the thing.
So let me see if I get this straight. In your spare time, while not fighting in a cage, you gravitate to a board game where you are simulating people living and dying via combat and people watching them, and that someone gets the thumbs up or down a decapitation. And you wonder why I asked the question, have you ever gotten so intense on a board game that you took it back to the gym? Because if someone told you, and this is just purely from my head, hey man, your gladiator has been defeated, there's a part of me that thinks you go, yeah, you want to see about that? All right. What party got defeated? Was it, what is it, his left cross? Like, what's happening, man? So I just had a moment where I was like,
wow, if I wouldn't mind if he lost, but if the host gave me the thumbs down and killed him, I will be having some problems. I would be looking over like, you did what? You did what?
So I'm glad you expressed these things, because full disclosure, one of my very good friends out here in Cali, he has literally every game in existence. So now next time I see him, I'm going to be like, have you seen this game? Because I guarantee you he probably has seen it or he's heard of it. And like when he hosts a game night, he gets into it because he produces game shows. So like this is his life. He loves to put on game nights. And I swear to God, he found a good ally in me, because I could come as a normal person who, when I was like, oh, did I lose the game of life? Who gives a shit, dude? I'm going to do jokes. We're going to have fun. It'll be great. Like, but we have people who come in and it is deadly serious. And when people get deadly serious about something to a person who has a pretty good sense of humor, nothing is funnier, because then all you're doing is honing in on this and be like, this is fascinating. You are fucking insane. And then the only difference is, if you were at that game night, this couldn't work. But when I'm at these game nights, I go, these people can't harm me.
You're like, I can do whatever I want.
Can take whatever I want. And so you're always thinking to yourself like, oh, I can do all the jokes I want. And no one's going to be like, hey, you got a problem? I'm going to be like, sure, come sign a waiver. This is great. Come to my gym. It'll be fun.
Make my day.
Exactly. I'm like, no, we're fine. And I'm like, and most of the time they're all nerds. So it's just me being like, you're fine. Everybody sit down and we're going to have fun. And remember, I can both insult you and beat you up. So A+ to me. All right. Well,
no, but that board game is a really fun board game.
They found the right game for you. Like,
that was like a top one.
I was like, holy shit, dude. I could have thought of 30 other games I probably could have thrown at you. But you found the game where you're like, gladiators fighting sounds cool. Backstabbing, we'll do it. No problem. So
it was like, it's the sabotage that you can do in that is like, So basically, you can tell that. So you have all these cards in your hand, right? You can show them cards. You can do whatever you want, and then you can give them a wrong card. Like you don't have to honor your deals. You can you can completely lie the entire time, and then they make a trade with you, and you just bamboozled the whole trade. Like you just completely lied to them the entire time. So you could be setting this person up since the beginning. You could be like their best friend. You can help them. Like, oh, this person's doing. Oh, I'll help you, and you help them by doing some shit, and then just crumble their lives. Just take everything away from them, like just absolutely destroy them.
I love that. That's great.
It's a wild game.
Well, I'm going to tell you one game that we do on the show that maybe you'll want to do in the future. So this is assuming a lot of stuff. Obviously, you have to go play golf. I'll be your hype man there. That's fine. But when you come back to Cali, there is a game that comes on this show. And normally I wouldn't recommend this because it's mostly difficult for me. But the game is we have a deck of cards. Each one of them has a submission. And your job is to try and land that submission on me. You have 1 minute to do it. What do you think your odds would be if you were to play that game?
Out of a deck of 52?
Well, it's not there's not 52 submissions, bro. Like, we're not trying to sit here and tell you hey, man, hit a rolling Kimura into. No, it's they're very basic.
Yeah, I was going to say 52 submissions. That's a lot of submissions.
I think there's 20 playing cards. There's a few more with gi, but normally we do this as a no gi bit. So if I were to give you 1 minute, just based sight unseen on any one of those normal submissions, do you think you would be able to pull that off?
How long? A minute each one?
Well, it's staggered. So black belts usually get a minute. I did one with John Combs, and he pulled a heel hook. And John Combs is very strong and wasted no time, and he got me. But I want to say Cody Steele did one and Tackett did one back to back. And Tackett went first, and Cody Steele saw that Tackett didn't get the submission. And he was kind of And I think I gave them both 2 minutes. I think that's what it was. I think at the time I gave him 2 minutes. And Cody Steele decided this when I was doing my pre-interview. So we do a quick hey, what do you think you're going to do? Oh, I won't know what it is. You know the card. So basically when you're rolling with me, all I can do is defense. And we'll see. And I go, hey, you're not going to hit me now because you're a combat jiu-jitsu guy. And he's like, nah. And he saw that Tackett couldn't get me. And then all of a sudden I'm just getting slapped. And I go, what the fuck? And there's a little fight or flight moment when I looked at his leg and was like, do I need to fucking X-guard heel hook this dude? And I realized I'm shit, this is my dumb game. I can't really fucking heel hook him for playing our game. So there's just a lot of me being So I finally end up getting out of it. He doesn't get, I think he had an arm bar and I think the other one had a Kimura or something. And the only thing that happens is
Kimura's hard to get. So I only have to draw one. Whatever
you only get one.
Draw.
You get one card.
Oh, okay. So that would all depend on the card I draw.
Correct.
You know what I mean? If I draw the right card, I'll get it. But if I draw a Kimura, come on, Kimura's hard to get.
I'm just saying. I thought you were a black belt. I thought this was weird.
Don't get me wrong. You give me 30 minutes. I'm not Kimura you. You know what I mean?
No. Hey, listen.
You give me 1 minute. That's
the one thing that I was realizing is, and I roll with a lot of our guests over a period of time. And so, especially if I do them in person, you, I know. So it's a little bit, we have a rapport. It's a little easier to kind of get along. There are guests that if I don't know them and we've set something up, I try to roll with them before we do an interview because there's going to be better stories. They open up more once you've rolled with somebody. You kind of know them a little bit better. So,
yeah, you guys, yeah.
Yeah, my problem is they're professional athletes. I'm just a guy. So a lot of the times I set it up for an hour-long roll and we then do the interview. But there's a part where sometimes I'm rolling with somebody and I go 20 minutes in, like, what did I sign myself up for? This is
No, yeah,
madness.
because I'm a high paced individual. You know what I mean? So
Oh, I know.
you
I
know,
looked at your footage. I
30
saw
minutes, I'm a push the pace. You know what I mean? And by the time you hit that 25-minute mark, you'll be like, "What is it that you had? A kimura? Oh, here you go. Just get right
well,
without
okay.
it."
Now here's the problem. Here's the worst part for you is that we designed this because I thought, I've been told I have decent defense now, enough where it just keeps me safe. That's the more important thing. But I don't make the mistake of saying like, oh, damn, I'm at the John Combs level. Oh, I'm at the JJ level. It's just me being like, this is a fun game to see what happens. And
So this is what I told people in my gym. I was like, being defensive, you could be a blue belt and not get submitted by nobody. So like, I'm. It all depends on if it gives me a sub that I'm good at, like that's my shit. You know what I mean? Then I'll be like, oh, okay, I can get this. But
well, I
you
mean,
give
like
me
if you
like a
got an armbar,
Kimura.
I'd be okay. I've seen what happens. It probably wouldn't be able to write for a week, but I'm pretty sure I'd be able to get away with it. So here's how you know the reason that joke came out is because the whole concept was, as you guys are doing this, I am roasting you. So I'm doing jokes. So as soon as Cody Steele didn't get the submission, I ran around the gym. Like I always like do like I'd won IBJJF gold like celebration
Like
if
a
they don't
victory
do
lap.
it. Yeah, like
Victory
something
lap.
obnoxiously stupid just because I go, there's got to be a funny way to do this. And so I'm like, dude, legitimately running around. And I ran past him
Showing
and I
off.
just go,
Phones
yeah,
off.
yeah, 100%. Just let's go. But I walk over to Cody Steele as I'm like doing this victory run, and I just go, I know why you take everybody to overtime. Yay! And then he looks at me and I go, now that's the trade-off. You guys get to look like $1 million because you're doing that, but I'm 100% roasting you the entire time you're doing it. And I can't promise you it's great defense, but it has got me out of a submission or two. So you seem like the game person.
Oh no, I'm all about it. I'm all about it. As if I draw a good submission, uh, you're gonna know though, because I'll look at it and I'll drop my head, or I look at it, I'm like, oh, you're fucked.
I mean, there's a part of me that's competing against you in that way that thinks, yeah, show me that. But then the producer part of me is like, under no circumstance, let me feel anything. Like, let me, because the beautiful part is me not knowing the card you pulled. Some of the guys, when they do it, they'll start a certain way to try and get something out of me where they're like letting me pass. And I go like, what do they have? So you have a few minutes. And there's been a couple where the minute they start doing this, I like scream it out and I'm like, it's a triangle. Nope. Literally like everything to stay out of a triangle. And dude, sometimes it's hard because I want to say that you look at it and in your brain you go, okay, just don't get caught with this one move. And then all of a sudden you find yourself in part of the move and you go, no, it could happen. No, we got to figure this out. So, and sometimes my brain is way better at doing defense than doing the jokes. So there was one time, I think the first time I did it, where I was like, oh, I didn't do any jokes. And I think it was because I was too busy trying to problem solve and go like, wait, your foot is here. I need to do this. And then at the end of it, I think it was
if
like,
it just says chokes, no specific, that opens up a whole ballgame.
No. It's not just like choke, or it has a specific, like it'll say rear naked choke, triangle, Kimura.
Yeah, if it just said
armbar.
chokes, I would have been, oh great, I got a million options. I'm fucking golden. I don't have to worry about anything. I can go to every position.
So
I can do everything.
I think we'll be doing more of those segments, but I wanted to pitch that your way so that you can, in the back of your mind, be prepared for when I have it ready, because I just feel like high risk, high reward on this sort of segment, but especially with somebody who's going to be so mad if they don't get it, that I just want the camera person to follow you and be like, no, stay there. Go with him. He's in his field. He's really mad he didn't get like the worst host at jiu-jitsu to roll with and not get him with this. Like, damn, dude. It's a rough day at the office. Bellator's going to see it. They're going to be like, yeah, man, you're not fighting for a championship anymore. We saw you couldn't get wrapped. That shit's over. So, JJ, listen, you've been so nice. This is such an easy conversation to have. I've missed you being in the SoCal scene, but whenever I see my friends going off to do bigger and better things, it just looks like you've been a great fit with this team. You've been doing some great competitive success. I'm always watching your fights. I'm always rooting for you. But I want to give you an opportunity to go and shout out anybody who's been helping you or helping you get prepared or any sponsors. So I'm going to put the camera on you. Feel free to shout out whoever and whatever you want, sir.
Big shout out to Gamblers Jiu-Jitsu, all my students, all my students that that I'm training all the time, and all my coaches over at American Top Team. All my sponsors as well. There's quite a few of them. Without them, I wouldn't be able to do what I like to do. And yeah, about it.
Good,
Oh
man.
yeah, thank you.
Man.
Thank you for having me on, man. It was a fun conversation, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
We will definitely do it again soon. And the other segment I will bring you back for is I definitely want to do a tape study episode with you because we kind of did it without any footage of explaining where you were thinking and what you were thinking in the fight. But I always love to do an actual, we watch the fight together and we go through it because the insight you provided without even recalling any of the footage was just you being able to say, yeah, there was a moment I did this, and your linear process that you gave was a great series of insights, and I think you'd be a great addition for one of those shows.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm pretty sure everyone would like it too. They'll find it hilarious to think of how my brain operates.
I mean, they'll definitely study it, whether it's fight fans or the psychological industry. We're not quite sure
they'll
yet.
be like, did he really just say that to that?
Just
What?
that
Is that how he
like,
puts 1 and 2 together?
bink, bink. Literally, he goes, yeah, I got Sonic. All my coins flipped out for a split second. And then I just remembered, oh, yeah.
He took my back, and I was like, fuck, motherfucker's on my fucking back. Fuck. And then he hits me a couple times. Ding, ding. And I'm like, oh, shit. That doesn't matter. I know how to beat this.
Legitimately, one of the most delightful moments on any show or interview I've ever done is you being like, oh, yeah, that definitely happened. I definitely forgot how to jiu-jitsu and fight. And then I remembered. Mid-fight. It came back. It worked out. It happens. So, all right, JJ, I'm going to say bye to you off air, but I'm going to close this up. My appreciation to you. Keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Thank you, Bo.
All right, you guys, that's going to do it for us here. But before we go, a couple quick reminders. First and foremost, if you want to support this show, go on over to HY.PAGE /grappling hour. Give us $5 a month to see these interviews 30 days before anybody else. Why? Because you get to see dope shit like this. You get to see JJ basically telling you he went lights off for a few minutes, brain-wise. Nobody else got that interview. Support us. And if you want to see those extra segments like Roast Raf, where people roast my competition footage, where people are actually coming on and doing extra episodes that you don't see here on the free channels, or you want to see some extra content that we create, it really does help us here at the show. So that's HY.PAGE /grappling hour. Also, you made it this far in. Like, comment, and subscribe. And even if you didn't like any part of this interview, or you don't know what to comment on, you have nothing to say, why don't you in the comment section put a board game that you think I could beat JJ at? Because I think he would be very mad with literally any answer. Like, you could literally say Connect 4, and I think that would aggravate him. Even if you don't believe it's true. Just the thought of him having to go throughout that day, sipping some coffee and going like, I would crush Ref at Connect 4. Fuck him, man. He doesn't even know it. He doesn't even know what's coming for him. So I'm just saying, put that down there. And last but not least, join us on the Discord at Grappling Hour. That's going to do it for us, you guys. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.